Good morning from Maguire's Bridge in Fermanagh. We're here with Majella today, who has really kindly offered to speak out at the minute and tell us her story of needing emergency care. So Majella, thank you very much for having us here today. I'm looking around this room and I'm seeing a lot of photographs and things like that. There's a story here. Would you like to tell us who this is?
Well, this is my daughter Cassie
Yeah,
and my daughter Annie,
yeah,
and then this is my husband and my daughter Sophie, who unfortunately never got to meet her daddy. She was born 12 days after we lost him.
yeah. So you lost him. What happened?
We lost Jeremy over 13 years ago on a motorbike accident, but then it came out he took a massive heart attack.
Right. Okay. And had he been unwell before that?
He always complained of a pain in his left shoulder,
Yeah.
and he'd shortness of breath from, let's say, the March beforehand.
And he'd been to his GP?
Yeah, he went to the GP about the pain in the shoulder, and they told him it was probably muscular, and they referred him to physio. But as a lorry driver, he didn't take the time to go to physio.
Yeah. Okay. So what's maybe access to GPs is an issue then in this area, as well as problems with getting the right assessment and diagnosis too?
Well, since COVID, it definitely is. It's like, it's nearly impossible to get in to see your GP.
Yeah. So this year, shall we sit down and hear your story? This year you had occasion to try and call the GP. What happened at that stage?
On the Saturday I'd been out of the wee football tournament.
Yeah.
At the local, there was a wee girls blitz on.
Yeah.
And I felt grand, and I came home and I just went to eat a slice of toast, and I thought, oh my god, there's something wrong with that bread, it's sticking in me.
Yeah.
And then after a while I took a wild pain in the middle of my tummy, like the belly button area in my tummy. And I was just really sore. I went and lay down with like hot water bottle and painkillers.
Yeah.
And then on the Sunday, football again. We're very involved in football in this house.
Yeah.
So we'd go to football on the Sunday, and I went with a hot water bottle on my side, and it was a real warm day, but I had this hot water bottle just on my tummy. It was so sore. And then I got up the Monday morning and I rang through to my GP, and the receptionist speaks to you, but they go and speak to a clinician to see what advice or what's the best treatment for you. So I explained my symptoms and how sore I was and everything. So she came back and told me that to come up for bloods at 11:30, and then she'd made me an appointment to see the GP in Newtown Butler. My GP's are in Ski, but they do it in Newtown Butler as well.
So we're in Maguire's Bridge, so just explain to people watching, because we're kind of going international with this. How far is it to go from where you are now to go to Newtown Butler?
Oh, well, it's 3 miles to Ski, and then I'd say it's another 6. I'm not sure, 6 miles then on to Newtown Butler.
Yeah, it's about 10 miles away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, roughly I'd say.
Yeah.
So I had just been an appointment for me on the Monday or the Tuesday evening at 4:30 to go to the doctor in Newtown Butler.
Yeah. And what happened then?
I went up for my bloods on the Monday morning, and I was so sore. I was like, I was hardly fit to sit, stand, walk, talk. I was just in agony. And I went in to the treatment room, and the wee girl nurse says, oh, you're not well. And I says, no, I think I need to see a doctor. And there was another wee nurse in the room as well, and I didn't know the wee nurses up there. Usually you would know the nurses, but I didn't know either of the wee nurses. And they took my blood, and I said, well, what happens next? And they goes, well, we'll send this away, and if anything shows up, they'll ring you. You know, and I went, no, that's grand. And I just said, look, I have an appointment with the doctor tomorrow evening. So I went home then, and then had to go to Ederney that evening. My daughter was playing in an underage football match.
As you do when you're a parent.
Yeah.
You know, you're a widow.
Yeah.
So you've got the responsibility for these little ones, and you just keep going, don't you?
Yeah, definitely. No, I drove to Ederney, and That's a long wee spin, and
Yeah.
with the hot water bottle again on my side. I had a bag with a hot water bottle.
Yeah.
So yeah, I went to Edinburgh on Monday evening in agony.
Yes.
But you know, it was just, you have to do these things.
That's what mothers do, isn't
Yeah,
it?
definitely.
Mothers just keep on
Yeah,
pushing on.
you push on.
Yeah.
You have to. You just push on through the pain.
You do. Yeah.
Definitely.
Okay. So what happened after that?
Well, the Tuesday, I got up and I didn't feel too bad. But on the Monday, the pain had moved to my side, from my tummy to my side.
Yeah.
And I didn't feel too bad when I got up and I chaired and that. And then, as the day went on, it just got sore. And I was just waiting on 4:30 to come to go to the doctor.
Yeah.
Because I was in so much pain.
Yeah.
So when I went to the doctor, I just cried. I just had enough.
Yeah.
I just couldn't go any longer
Yeah.
with the pain.
So had you blood results at some stage?
Yeah, I hadn't heard anything by telephone from the GP, but when I went in to see the doctor in Newtown, she just said that my blood results were back, and she'd asked me had anybody phoned me, and I said no, and she just says, well, you're my last appointment, you should have been my first appointment this morning.
Yes.
She goes, your infection markers are back, they're
Uh-huh.
high. And I says, well, what are they? So she told me they were 164,
Yeah.
but that meant nothing to me.
Yeah.
So I said, well, you know, what should they be? And she says they should be under 5.
Yes.
So that was like, okay, that doesn't sound good,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. So then, what happened then? What did they do then?
Well, she just examined me and she says, look, Majella, I think it's your appendix. I'm going to write a letter here for you to bring to A&E.
Yeah.
And she asked me had I a lift to get to Enniskillen to A&E.
Yeah.
So then I explained, well, I'll have to ring my father or my brother. Like,
Yes.
it was like, I don't know, I'll just... And then she asked me, how did I get there to Newtown?
Yeah.
I says, well, I drove.
Yeah.
And she went, okay. She's right, go home and get somebody to bring me straight to the hospital.
Yeah.
And I suppose I had to ring my daddy. So I rang him as soon as I left, going down the road. And he said he'd come straight away. And yeah, we went down to the Swall there.
So how far is it from Newtown Butler, coming up from Newtown Butler to go, like how many miles is it from Newtown Butler to go to get to A&E at Swa as it is now for you? How far
I'd
is
say you're talking 20, 22 miles from
20
Newtown.
that? So 22 miles from Newtown Butler up. So on an average winter's day, or you know, evening, like how long would that take you? You know, to kind of
I suppose I had to stop.
Yes.
I had to stop in Maguire's Bridge. I drove to Maguire's Bridge and then I had to
Yeah.
wait for my daddy to come
Yeah.
to drive me there and on to
Yeah.
Enniskillen.
Yeah. So how long, maybe, what would that take roughly in time wise?
Well, time wise, from I suppose leaving the doctors to get back here and packing a bag, I had to pack a bag.
Pack a bag, yeah.
You know, I was talking, I'd say an hour and a half.
Yeah.
An hour and a half. Because I
To
had to sort out the girls too.
Of course, you had to sort your children.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and them to sort out.
That takes time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's important.
Uh-huh.
So an hour and a half it took you to get things sorted out for the children to be able to get into Enniskillen.
Yes.
So what happened then when you got into Enniskillen? You had, what happened? They did emergency.
Yeah, I had was it an ultrasound done
Yes.
and a CT scan,
Yes.
and the surgical team had come in to see me and they just explained that definitely it seemed like it was my appendix, and he just explained about, you know, if it's ruptured what happens, and he said, explained about keyhole, and maybe sometimes can't do keyhole, might have to do open surgery,
Yes.
and they were waiting on the results of the CT scan back.
Yes.
So they hadn't got them, and then he came back to explain to me that yeah, it's ruptured.
It's ruptured. Your
Yes,
appendix is
My
ruptured.
appendix is ruptured,
Yeah.
and he just said, depending how bad you are, you might have a draining, and you'll be on antibiotics after it.
Yes. So but they did emergency surgery.
Yeah.
At that point.
Yes.
Yeah. What was your infection marker at that stage? Do you know?
I was told by one of the nurses it was way over 200.
Right.
Yeah.
So you know, if at that point, how, you know, if you weren't able to get emergency, so it took you an hour and a half to get into Enniskillen, and you know your infection markers were dangerously high at that
Yeah.
stage. So you can you imagine, like, you know how ill you were at that point, if there was no hospital, if there was no emergency surgery available for you with a ruptured appendix at that point, what would your experience have been like if you had to go to Galvin or somewhere else?
Oh, I dread to think, because as well as being ruptured, they were gangrenous.
Yeah.
My appendix was gangrenous as well, so I ended up in the hospital for over a week on a drain
Yes.
and on IV antibiotics.
Yeah.
And like the journey to Enniskillen was bad enough. I don't think, with the roads from here to Derry, I don't
Yeah.
think.
How long would that
I've
have
made
taken
it.
you to get from, like, it was an hour and a half for you to get to Enniskillen, so then, you know, how long would it take?
You ran another hour and a half on.
Another hour and a half onto that?
Yes.
Right. So that could have been 3 hours when you were very, very, very seriously
Yeah.
ill. Yeah. Okay. Do you think you'd have made it?
I don't think so. I just know when I was in the recovery after the surgery, and the wee nurse, like, the first thing I remember was going, Majella, you are so lucky. You were such a mess.
Mm.
They had to come out.
Mm-hmm.
I just remember the wee nurse saying that to me.
Mm.
And it was my wee cousin, I just recognised your voice. But yeah, no, that's the first thing I remember them saying to me, oh my God, you were such a mess.
Mm-hmm.
You're extremely lucky. And
Mhm.
the surgeon came up to see me the next morning to see how I was.
Mm-hmm.
And he just said to me, he says, you're a very, very, very lucky lady.
Mm-hmm.
He says, you were a mess.
Yeah.
He says, you were really bad.
Yeah. Yeah. So knowing how important it was that you got that emergency surgery in Enniskillen, how do you feel about, you know, us having a crisis now that has the potential, and they're planning on the 3rd of December to remove emergency surgery? How do you feel about us having no government, you know, at all at this time?
I think they're just playing with people's lives. You know, because this happened to me, and just out of the blue, like, I got sick so suddenly, just out of the blue, you know, and like, this can happen to anybody at any time, any day.
Mm-hmm.
And we need our surgical team in as well, like, we need it.
Mm-hmm. Because we're so far. Mm-hmm. What do you think about the civil servants' decision making? You know, they're making decisions to now cut out emergency surgery, you know, close Ward 3 on the 3rd of December, and advertise for 4 posts up in Galvin, you know, and this is hours away, you know, for ones that we actually really need here. You know, how do you feel about that? You know, how do you feel about what the decision making that these civil servants are doing?
It's disappointing. I find living in Fermanagh, especially in the West, you're forgot about. I think you have to live like up near the city, near Belfast, near Derry,
Mm-hmm.
to have any services.
Mm-hmm.
Like, poor Fermanagh's just left to the wayside.
Yeah,
So it is. And
Yeah.
we need these services.
yeah. So
We
you
really
feel
do.
forgotten.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mm. So okay.
And there's no good roads out of Fermanagh to go to Belfast, or, you know, like, to go to Derry.
anywhere.
Like, there's no good road
Yeah,
up to Gavin. Like.
yeah. So if we're kind of trying to send women's voices internationally here because of the really serious risk of life that we have because of the situation with the government here, and, you know, our situation with what the civil servants are, how they're behaving,
Mm-hmm.
you know, in the absence of, like, when they've got no oversight or accountability. So if you were to speak out to women internationally, you know, now, what would you say what's the message you'd like to send out outside of here? You know, what would your message be?
We need local services.
Mm.
We really do.
Mm. Yeah,
We need them.
yeah. So we need people to help us.
Yeah,
Yeah, we need support.
definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you very much.
No worries.
Thank you very much, Majella. Thank you very much.